You know, it's always surprising whenever a book comes along that I was like on the fence about, and then it just blows me away. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always guys, I am Andrew, and today we are here for a book review. I know it's been a while since I've done a book review, but before we get into that, please like this video and subscribe to the channel as it does help the channel grow, and you can check the description box down below for links to all of my social media. That includes my Pango books for all the books I have on hold, my Patreon if you want to help support what I do, which goes towards equipment costs and subscription fees, things of that nature is always greatly appreciated, or even the Discord channel, the Wizards Enclave Discord if you want to chat books. That said guys, what book are we here to discuss? We are here to discuss The Assassin of Grins and Secrets by K.E. Andrews. And essentially this is the first book by K.E. Andrews that I've ever read. I immediately went out and got the Hills of Heather and Bone or something of that nature to read next because I absolutely love this. I'm going to give you my rating right up front. I loved this book. This book is easily 4.5 to 5 stars. And I say 4.5 just because I felt the ending was a bit rushed. But that aside, everything else in this book was phenomenal. Great character work, great main POV, great exploration of trauma, great world building, because this is kind of a Moroccan, Middle Eastern sort of story, and it uses a lot of that terminology. There is a kind of neurodivergent element to the main character, Saren, where she experiences the world in like different tones of color. Like one of the characters that she interacts with is a prince, and all of his words are kind of golden. They're always described as golden words, but like the bells that he wears in his ear are kind of give a peach ring tone. And initially I wasn't sure that was going to work for me. I was very much on the fence for about the first couple chapters, and then you just kind of acclimate to it, and it adds this layer of depth and beauty to the prose without being purple. It just was incredibly readable, but at the same time, very beautiful way of viewing and interacting with the world. Now, essentially, this is assassin fantasy. And this was kind of one of my biggest first assassin fantasy. I had done The Wounded Kingdom. I've done the first and second book of that. But this one is different than what that is, because while I would say this is a dark fantasy, I wouldn't go as far to say as it's a grim dark fantasy. Essentially, we have Saren, who is the grinning assassin, and she has been captured. And basically, when she is captured, she is tortured, she is beaten, she is she is tortured to give up her information on her organization, and then thrown into a prison where she is starved, withered away, beaten, thrown into death matches, gladiator style, until one day a prince figures out where she is, and he goes, I can use you to do something. And he kind of goes and plucks her out of prison and makes her one of his wali, which is one of his personal guards to the prince. And basically he's like, hey, you've been captured, you're an assassin, your life is forfeit, but I can give you a contract for 5 years if you're willing to help guard me. And he has, of course, a deeper motive. And essentially this works for Saren because she has a grudge against Ramses, the prince's father, Sethos, because Sethos has been on a one-man campaign to eliminate magic and subjugate more people and lands, and just he is hell-bent on war, and she has personally suffered at Sethos' hands and wants revenge. And that's where the story kind of dives in deeper, where it kind of becomes investigation into what Sethos is doing, and kind of trying to figure out how to elude her former master, Xanasis, who was very abusive, both mentally, physically, and sexually to Saren. Saren is guarding a deep secret that she doesn't want anybody to find out about. She's willing to kill for this secret, and that is absolutely fantastic. We then also kind of explore one of Ramses' friends, who is Uriah, I believe is how you pronounce his name. And he is a captain of the guard of the city, and he is kind of a palace guard. He's very high and esteemed. He's a childhood friend of Ramses, and as such, even though he is not noble born, he has been bestowed a defunct house, noble house, and given noble title due to Ramses' kind of prodding towards his father. And Uriah does not trust Saren at all. He's like, this is an assassin. She's up to no good. You can't trust her. Why have you brought her in? I don't trust her. She's going to betray you. This is a bad idea. And Uriah, I almost said Ramses. Ramses is just like, no, chill out, Uriah. And so like Ramses believes in Saren, and I think she needs that because she is so damaged from her life as an assassin, because basically her village was massacred at a very young age by Sethos. And she was taken in by this assassin who very much mistreated her, and this is kind of revealed to the depths in which she suffered throughout the story. He is an ever-present, Xanasis, the assassin who mistreated her, is an ever-present voice in her brain. He has become a tormentor in her dreams. He kind of whispers that she can't trust anybody, and it's just fantastic. The dynamic of Saren kind of she's trying to kind of ingratiate herself with Ramses, but also she wants her freedom, which is why she's taken this deal, but also she wants her revenge, and she wants to just protect what's important to her, and I love it. This book has some heavy-hitting scenes, but also it's got competition, it's got those Middle Eastern themes, it's one of the best executions of those themes I've ever seen. K.E. Andrews knocked this one out of the park. In terms of pacing, it's the right amount of fast-paced and of taking its time. It's never one or the other. It's a nice hybrid. It flows very beautifully. It can go from fast-paced to a quick transition to a slowdown very smoothly. And the way tension is held throughout the story is just beautifully done. Again, I will mention those themes. There are themes of abuse and of murder and of betrayal and of hurt and of a life not well lived, of a life that has been full of turmoil and just heartache and pain, and how somebody can internalize that and still kind of try and piece themselves back together to become essentially a functional human being. There's all of that here in Assassin of Grins in Secret. I love the dynamic that Saren has with Ramses, because she's very snide towards the prince, and he just lets her do it. Like, you would think a Middle Eastern prince or something like that would be very haughty, but Ramses is very humble. He wants to be a good man, but at the same time he is conflicted because his father wants him to be a strong king, and Ramses doesn't think he can be both, or he doesn't think he has to be cruel to be strong, and he wants to find a better way than what his father has presented as his only real path forward to be his heir. There's a deeper mystery on just how, because I believe he's called the Malik, is the term of the king, and how he has come to power, and there's some shady dealings in Sethos' past that we are trying to uncover and explore. There's a kind of Secret Service kind of information gathering organization called the Golden Jackals who report to the king. It's fantastic stuff, because, you know, Saren is very good at identifying people. She will look at you and she can identify where you're from, what your fighting style is, what your weak points are. Like, she's very, very observant, almost to Sherlock level, but at the same time, that isn't making her OP, because she has all this emotional baggage and all of this trauma that kind of keeps her from being this unstoppable whirlwind. But when she gets let off her leash, like, believe Saren's gonna mess somebody up. One of my favorite protagonists that I have read in quite some time. I can honestly say this is probably going in my top 10 of the year. I do think, because this is a trilogy, it isn't quite branded on the book as a trilogy at this point in time, but going in, know that this is book one of a intended 3, and so that makes the ending make more sense, because the whole time I was reading this, I was like, is this a standalone, or is it part of a series? This is, in fact, part of a series, which recontextualizes the ending and helps it make a little bit more sense. Overall, guys, this is one you do not want to miss. This is not one you want to sleep on. It does have some heavy themes. It does have that exploration of trauma and dealing with the trauma, and how to be kind of functional through the pain. But again, fantastic book. I loved characters. I loved the prose. I loved the story. I loved the action because it is married with just, it's not all the time action. It is, there's investigation, there's action, there is so much built into this book. There's counter espionage. There's a tournament. So there's that. If you like tournament settings, that's in here. I loved everything about this, and it really helped me fall in love with the subgenre of assassin fantasy. Please, please do yourself a favor and check this one out. That's all I really got for you today, guys, but please do yourself a favor, check this one out. Let me know in the comments if it sounds interesting or like something you would like to read. That's all I really got for you today. So till next time, peace out, stay magical, bye. And as always, I want to give a huge, heartfelt thank you to my patrons. Thank you for all that you do.